In the vast, blue wilderness of our oceans, an ancient drama plays out, largely hidden from our view. It's a world with unforgiving rules, where the line between hunter and hunted is drawn with absolute clarity. At the very top of this food chain reigns a supreme predator, the orca, or killer whale. With their sharp intelligence and lethal coordination, they are the undisputed masters of the sea. For most marine animals, the sight of those iconic black and white bodies means the end. But something is changing. Beneath the waves, a surprising resistance is growing, and it's coming from a very unlikely challenger. In the ruthless world of the ocean, one animal has been seen standing up to the apex predator, again and again. But this isn't a fight over territory or food. It's something else entirely. Picture a 50-foot, 40-ton giant, known for its serene songs and majestic breaches, deliberately charging a pack of the ocean's most efficient killers. What would drive a creature the size of a school bus to throw itself into a battle that isn't its own? To figure that out, we first have to understand the animal they so boldly confront. This is the story of two titans, the orca, a calculating hunter, and the humpback whale, an unexpected guardian. And it reveals a dynamic that challenges everything we thought we knew about life in the deep. To really understand what humpbacks are doing, you first have to appreciate just how dominant orcas are. The name killer whale isn't for show. It's a title they've earned over millions of years of evolutionary perfection. Orcas aren't technically whales, they're the largest species of dolphin, and they have a terrifying mix of size, speed, power, and staggering intelligence. They are the wolves of the sea, and their kingdom is the entire global ocean. What makes them so formidable is their incredibly complex social life. Orcas live in sophisticated family groups called pods, usually led by the oldest female. These family bonds are so strong that many orcas stay with their mothers for their entire lives. Within these pods, they've developed one of the most advanced communication systems in the animal kingdom. They use a language of clicks, whistles, and pulse calls that are so unique, different pods have what can only be described as their own dialects. This allows them to coordinate their actions with chilling precision, and it's that coordination that makes them devastating hunters. They are specialists. Scientists have identified different ecotypes of orcas populations that have adapted to hunt very specific prey. While some pods, like the resident orcas of the Pacific Northwest, mostly eat fish, others are stone-cold mammal hunters. These are the big killer whales, or transient orcas, and they are the terror of the seas for seals, sea lions, dolphins, and even the calves of the largest whales on Earth. Their hunting techniques are a masterclass in strategy. A hunt for a whale calf is a harrowing, drawn-out ordeal. The pod works together like a perfectly organized strike team. They'll relentlessly chase a mother and her young, taking turns to wear them down. The goal is always separation. They slam into the mother, bite at the calf's fins, and try to force their way between the two. Once the calf is alone, the pod's strategy changes. They'll work to prevent it from surfacing for air, sometimes by physically holding it underwater. It's a brutal, but incredibly intelligent, display of predatory power. Their ability to learn, teach these skills to their young, and adapt on the fly makes them a nearly unbeatable force. For a newborn gray whale or a young minke, the sight of those sleek, black dorsal fins is often a death sentence. In the great theater of the ocean, the orca has long been the ruler. But they didn't count on the arrival of a guardian angel. When we think of humpback whales, we usually picture serene majesty. A gentle giant gliding through the water, known for its hauntingly complex songs that travel for miles. We think of their spectacular acrobatic breaches, exploding from the water in a shower of spray. As baleen whales, they live on krill and small fish. They seem almost like peaceful grazers in a world of sharp-toothed carnivores. But that peaceful image is only half the story. It turns out, these gentle giants have the spirit of a warrior. For decades, marine biologists and whale watchers have been documenting a strange and astonishing behavior. Humpback whales have been seen, time and time again, deliberately intervening in orca hunts. And these aren't just a few isolated incidents. It's a consistent, global pattern, recorded well over 100 times from the freezing waters of Antarctica to the coasts of California. They are, quite literally, playing the part of oceanic superheroes. One of the most famous examples happened in 2012 in Monterey Bay, California. A BBC film crew and a group of researchers saw a pod of orcas attacking a gray whale mother and her calf. The mother was exhausted, trying desperately to shield her baby, but the orcas were closing in. The situation looked hopeless. And then, the cavalry arrived. Out of nowhere, 2 adult humpbacks charged onto the scene. Then more came. Soon, a group of 14 humpbacks had assembled, forming a protective barrier around the gray whales. Their tactics were aggressive and clear. They blasted loud, trumpeting calls. They used their massive bodies, some weighing over 30,000 kilograms, to get between the orcas and their prey. And they used their most powerful weapons, their pectoral fins. A humpback's flippers are the largest arms in the animal kingdom, growing up to 5 meters long. They're like giant, bony wings, and the front edge is covered in knobs and sharp barnacles. The humpbacks rolled and thrashed, swinging these colossal clubs at any orca that got too close. In that Monterey Bay incident, even after the gray whale calf was tragically killed, the humpbacks didn't leave. They stayed for over 6 hours, guarding the body and keeping the orcas from feeding, as if standing vigil. What makes this so incredible is that they don't just protect other whales. Scientists have seen humpbacks saving species completely unrelated to them. They've shielded seals trapped on ice floes, driven off orcas hunting sea lions, and even saved smaller porpoises and ocean sunfish. A 40-ton whale that eats krill is putting itself in danger, using enormous amounts of energy, and risking serious injury from the ocean's top predator, all to save a seal. It seems to defy simple evolutionary logic and forces us to ask a compelling question. Why are they doing this? That question of why is the heart of this entire mystery. Why would a humpback risk its life for a creature that offers it no direct benefit? The energy cost alone is huge. Humpbacks have been seen traveling over a mile, abandoning their own feeding or resting, just to charge into a fight. Scientists have wrestled with this puzzle for years, and while there's no single, definite answer, a leading theory has emerged. It suggests this seemingly selfless behavior is actually born from a deep-seated instinct for survival. The most accepted scientific explanation is a behavior called predator harassment or mobbing. It's a defensive strategy seen all over the animal kingdom. You might even see it in your backyard, when small birds team up to dive bomb a hawk to drive it away. The logic is simple. If you make life difficult enough for the predator, it'll eventually decide the hunt isn't worth the effort and move on. This theory is rooted in the humpback's own life story. While a full-grown humpback is a tough opponent, their calves are extremely vulnerable. Orcas are one of the main predators of young humpback whales, and many don't survive. In fact, many adult humpbacks carry the scars from their youth-long rake marks on their tails from orca teeth. The theory suggests that humpbacks have evolved a simple but effective rule. When you hear orcas hunting, you attack. It's a preemptive strike, a hardwired defense meant to protect their own species. The key here is that the response is generalized. The humpbacks aren't necessarily making a conscious choice to save a specific gray whale calf or a seal. They're likely responding to the sounds of an orca hunt, the splashing, the unique calls of a big killer whale pod on the attack, and the distress calls of the prey. These sounds act as a trigger, kicking in an automatic instinct to charge in and fight, no matter who the victim is. By creating a dangerous environment for their main predator, they ultimately increase the survival chances for their own calves. It's the net effect that matters. Of course, there's another, more emotional possibility that researchers haven't ruled out. True altruism. We know humpbacks are intelligent and have complex social lives. Could this be genuine empathy? We have to be careful not to project human emotions onto animals. Still, when you see a 40-ton whale gently lifting a seal onto its chest to protect it from predators, which has been documented, it's hard not to wonder if there's more going on. Whether it's driven by instinct, intelligence, or something that feels a lot like a grudge, their behavior is a stark contrast to their adversaries. Orcas are fiercely protective, but only of their own pod. The humpback, on the other hand, has become the unlikely guardian for a whole range of species, a self-appointed sheriff in the wild west of the ocean. This ongoing struggle between humpbacks and orcas isn't a conflict that will have a clear winner. There won't be a final battle or a treaty signed beneath the waves. Instead, it's a magnificent and perpetual dance of evolutionary pressures, a dynamic balance between the ocean's smartest predator and its most surprising protector. The orcas, for their part, won't be stopped. They are masters of adaptation. Hunting is essential for their survival. They've ruled the oceans for eons because they are brilliant problem solvers. It's very likely they are already developing new strategies to work around the humpback's interference. Maybe they'll learn to hunt more quietly, to lure prey away from humpback territories, or to finish their attacks faster. The predator-prey relationship is an arms race, and the orca is one of its most skilled participants. And the humpbacks will likely continue to intervene. The behavior seems to be deeply ingrained, passed down through generations. And as humpback populations continue to recover from the era of commercial whaling, their numbers are rising. This means more potential guardians in the water, ready to respond to the sounds of a hunt. The interactions between these two giants will probably become even more frequent. What we're witnessing is a complex interplay of instinct, intelligence, and maybe even culture, unfolding on the vast, three-dimensional battlefield of the ocean. It's a constant, unfolding drama that points to a level of complexity in the animal kingdom we're only just beginning to understand. This struggle has no end in sight, because it's not a war for territory, but a fundamental dynamic woven into the very fabric of life and death in the sea. Ultimately, the story of the humpbacks and the orcas reveals a profound truth about the natural world. It's far more complex and mysterious than we often assume. The ocean's most formidable predator is being consistently and bravely challenged by an animal we thought was just a gentle giant. This saga forces us to reconsider what we know about animal behavior, blurring the lines between instinct and intention, between self-interest and what looks a lot like selflessness. We're lucky to live in a time when technology allows us to witness these epic stories unfold. The ocean isn't just a wilderness, it's a stage for a drama of titans, reminding us that great and noble secrets are still waiting to be discovered in the deep. If you were captivated by this oceanic rivalry, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the mysteries of the wild. And for another incredible story of animal intelligence, check out our video on the tool-using genius of the orangutan right here. Thanks for watching.